Hello, fellow enjoyers of AFL. It's Matsa here with another attempt at a redraft. This is the 2021 we're doing this year, the Jamarra draft. It wasn't the best draft, but look, let's see if we can fix it up and revisit some of the mistakes that some of the clubs did. Anyway, so the first pick is Adelaide, and they bidded on Jamarra. And this year they're going to do another bid, and it's going to be a Sydney player, and that's Errol Goulden. Now, I don't think this is too controversial to have him ahead of Jamarra. So this, where was he picked? He was picked 32. I think it was a Geelong bid. There you go. They can identify talent. What's there to say? Best and fairest to all Australians. Made the grand final twice in 4 years. So he's been playing in a good club as well. Look at those Brownlow votes and coaches' votes and just everything. Yeah, and 22 goals in his third year. Sort of dropped off a little bit this year, probably because he was playing a bit more on the wing and less half forward. But what's there to say about Errol, man? Great kicking, super high energy, plays out like 90% or plus of games, ever present on that wing, and an accumulator as well. Yeah, he has to be number one. His output has been insane since joining the league. The next pick, okay, so Adelaide pick again. Now, here's the thing. So they could just bid again on Jamarra, and I really do rate Jamarra. I think his potential is still super high. But there's another dude who I think I appreciate his versatility. I appreciate his pace, his line breaking ability. Halfback, midfielder. He can score goals. It's Max Holmes. Geelong really got a good one here. Should he be above of Jamarra? I don't know. I don't know if is that me overrating Holmes? I'm not really sure. But I don't know. Whenever I watched Geelong games, I felt like Max Holmes was really pivotal to them being good, to be honest with you. I remember one of the last games of the season. I don't know if it was the prelim or maybe it was a game before that. But he goes out with a hamstring. All of a sudden, you're like, okay, Geelong's gone. You know what I mean? That's just the feeling you had as a spectator. And yeah, look, these type of players with pace, with power, and now he's building up his body a bit, where he's got a little bit of strength to him. Where he can really get into the contest. He can do some contested marks as well. I think these type of players are just super valuable. A bit of height as well on him. So, So Max Holmes goes there. Let me know what you think of that, So the next pick is Jamarra. So the Bulldogs have matched North Melbourne's bid, and they get their boy. Oh, why is his name so hard to spell? There we go. So he goes there. There's another dude who I would consider putting above him, and I'll tell you why I'm not going to put him above Jamarra on this occasion. But Jamarra, we'll click into him. His goal tallies haven't been super great, but in saying that, 40 goals in his fourth season is pretty good. He had a few games of multiple goals. He's the type of player who really, when he plays well, you feel like his team's unstoppable. Those players are very valuable. He's game-changing player. Tall, athletic. The Buddy Moulders. Is how they've always compared him. Every team wants Jamarra on their team. So Jamarra goes at 3. The next pick, so North go again, and this time they're going to go for a dude who was in the mid-season draft, and that's John Newcomb. We're not going to pass up on him for. Let's have a look. Who's I can't remember the guy's name now. Jacob Edwards. That's the one. Yeah, that's a sad outcome for North. He was the consensus number 1 mid-season draft pick. Everyone wanted him. He was going to be a top 10 pick in the next year's draft. But he just didn't have the. It seems as though he just didn't have the want for it, or the drive that other players do. But anyway, good luck for him. John Newcomb is there. Now, I was thinking of having him above of Jamarra just because we saw his last couple performances of the season where he was, in the finals, he was the Hawks' best player. He was huge. The only reason I'm not going to put him that high is just because I feel like he wasn't that, like, his worst at the start of the season was, it wasn't great. He didn't start the season well. There's a bit of a gap between his worst and best. If he is a bit more consistent throughout the whole season, he probably goes above Max Holmes even, with the way he played in the last part of the season. But John Newcomb, yeah, just inside bull. He's a decent user of it as well. I think it's not the best part of his game, but he's solid enough. And at one stage he was creeping forward and taking marks and scoring goals, which was really cool to see. So yeah, no, John Newcomb, great player. Well done to the Hawks for a steal in the mid-season draft. So now Sydney are on the clock, and I've got to refer to my list here. Oh yeah, that's the one that we've gone for. So Sydney have gone, instead of getting Logan McDonald, they've gone for another key forward, and that's Josh Treacy. Now, Josh Treacy was a rookie drafted player, I believe. Yeah, rookie drafted. 45 goals in 20 games. Now, that is an elite ratio for goal to game. And the thing with him is that he's got that marking ability. He's got that presence up forward. I think of all the key forwards in this draft, apart from Jamarra, because Jamarra goes ahead just because of potential, right? Of all the other key forwards, Treacy's just shown the most in regards to, like, there's potential, but also just output. His output was insane. Man, lucky for Freo, they don't have to worry about chasing a Logan McDonald now because they've already got a similar player but better in Josh Treacy. So yeah, there that one is. Now the next pick, we're going to go another key position, forward/ruck. Let me know if you guys think I've got him a bit too high here. But actually, first of all, who's picking? Hawthorn's picking. Let me know if I've got him a little bit high here. But seeing what he did at the end of the season, Riley Thilthorpe really, really impressed me. He got about 2 goals a game. He was taking contested marks over big key defenders, and this is coming off injuries as well. I can't remember exactly what injury it was. Maybe it was a knee injury. He comes straight back in and he's already physically imposing. He's scoring goals. And Adelaide, they sort of turned their fortunes around when he started playing. They started winning more games. I think a lot of their success is going to be reliant on Riley Thilthorpe, and are they able to structure a forward line around him? Because with him in there, all of a sudden it makes Taylor Walker's job easier. It makes Fogarty's job a lot easier. I think he's pivotal to that. Does he go into the ruck at points as well? Probably chops out Riley O'Brien a little bit. But yeah, Riley Thilthorpe, he goes in there for me. Now this pick, I'm a bit unsure about. But so it is, who's on the board right now? So after Hawthorn, it's Gold Coast. So after initially picking Elijah Hollands, it was between 2 guys, and I'm going to go Logan McDonald. Now, the thing with McDonald, he looked worse this year that just passed. There was a couple games where he had a few, he had some shocking moments, missing goals, after the siren and stuff, but, missing the potential game winners. But the thing I find interesting about him, and I'm hoping that they've got this, do they have the stats here? Do they have it? See, the app is different to career and season stats. This is not good. What is this? This isn't the way I want to see it. Actually, if we go scoring, the one that I wanted to see was, here we go. So shot at goal accuracy. So this year, 2023, 62% goal accuracy. He's regressed to the mean with 50, we could say here. Now, they don't show goals. What is this? Average goals? What? Total. Okay. So, if he had a better percentage, right? If he was a little bit more clinical, all of a sudden we're looking at a 40-goal forward, and he's got that physical presence. For that reason, he's going to go over the next guy we're going to talk about. So I think, yeah, we've kind of got to settle down a little bit with, thinking Logan McDonald's like an average footballer. I think he's still quite good. I've got Riley Thilthorpe ahead of him just because I think Thilthorpe is just that physical specimen that, you can't, you can't really replicate that. That's just one of those things you're born with. But yeah, look, still, actually, how many games did he play in 2023? How many games? I don't know how to navigate. I'm not sure how to navigate this this stats thing. It's annoying. Anyway, but look, Logan McDonald goes there. He straightens up his kicking. He's a 40-goal forward. All of a sudden, my confidence is higher. Maybe he goes up the list, but for now, he's not going up the list. Now Essendon have some picks here. A player that they probably really hate. They're gonna pick up, and that's Jack. I was gonna write Josh. Jack Ginnivan. So Ginnivan, let me know your thoughts on positioning here, because this one I had a bit of trouble with. So he's a small forward, half forward. We've got to remember that in his second year at Collingwood, he kicked 40 goals. So that's super impressive. Goal tally a bit down this year, but similar to Logan McDonald, it's because his conversion just wasn't as good as it usually is. Yeah, let me know about these two specifically, Logan McDonald or Jack Ginnivan. Obviously, Logan McDonald plays a vital position in the forward line, as a key forward. But Jack Ginnivan, I don't know. It feels weird to me. I'm not really sure about this one. But the thing I like about Jack Ginnivan is not only his footballing ability, but he galvanizes his teammates, let's be fair. And he does the opposite to his opponents. So I like that bit of spirit that he brings to the game. Not sure if that warrants him going higher on the list or not, but as a spectator, it's fun and annoying to watch at the same time. So anyway, so Ginnivan goes in there. Next pick now. So I think Essendon again. They've gone and grabbed another player they probably hate. Two former Collingwood players here. Sorry, Essendon fans. Ollie Henry. Where was he picked? So 17 by Collingwood, and let's give him his proper name, Oliver. I don't know if he ever goes. We'll go with Oliver. We'll go with what's written here. Anyway, so Oliver Henry. If we click into his goal tallies, did that open up? I don't think that opened up. If we go into his goal tallies, 41, 37. So very good returns for slightly undersized key forward. The thing with him, you watch him play, and he's a bit of a barometer type player. When he does well, team usually does well. And I think he's a smart footballer as well. You look at the type of goals he gets. He's running at the back. He's in the right position. He's getting those snaps. And he's quick as well. Like he'll receive a handball and he'll chuck it on the boot straight away, and it's it goes in. So I think his sort of clinical nature of the way he plays gets him high on this list. Does he go higher than Ginnivan or Logan McDonald? Let me know. I find these dudes, it's kind of hard for me to separate these guys. I think he's got a little bit of Bruce about him, Ollie Henry. So he goes quite high up here at 9. Now, rounding out the top 10, there's a couple dudes who I'm in between. Again, more players that have confused me a bit. Adelaide are picking. And it's between Durham and Ollie Hollands. So another Ollie. Oh no, sorry, not Ollie. Elijah rather. The better brother. Elijah he's gonna make it. We're gonna go Elijah. Now Elijah Hollands, I think his numbers aren't as impressive as Durham's when it comes to disposals, but Elijah Hollands spends a bit more time half forward, which means he's kicked a few more goals. He shows us his class. I think he's a top player. I think he has a lot of scope for growth because you can just see it in the way he plays. He's got that little bit of he's got that footwork about him, and so 17 goals from 22 games, pretty solid. He was a high draft pick for a reason. He has scope for growth. We're going to close some things here, when it comes to output, this guy has been a little bit better, I'll be honest, in that regard. But Sam Durham, he's a bit of an engine in the middle. He's got that running capacity. He's got that just he's got a bit of a bull with the way he plays. And his numbers are just excellent, to be honest with you, and consistent as well. Does he have the potential and the growth that Elijah Hollands has? I don't know if he does, and that's why Elijah Hollands goes that bit higher. I just think he's a bit more silky, a bit more classy. How do I don't know, how do you quantify that, or I don't know. That's just based on the eye test. Anyway, next pick is North. Now we picked Tom Powell here, but this time around we're gonna go with it's James, yeah? It's James, yeah, he's a Jimmy as well. How can I forget? Jimmy Peatling. And Jimmy Peatling, he's moved over to Adelaide this year. I'm curious if we could click into him. Did he get many coaches' votes? He did get a few coaches' votes, and he got a Brownlow vote as well. To be honest, that really doesn't represent how good he was for me. I think he was good in the middle. He was good when he played half forward. He shows his versatility as a player. He kicked goals when he was forward. I think he's one of those type of players. He's just high energy. Wherever plug and play, wherever you want to play him, he'll do well. I'm curious to see how Adelaide sort of navigates this situation with all these half forward / mids. They've got Peatling, they have Keys, they have Rochelle, they've got Rankin, they've got all these dudes they can throw in there. Neil Bullen. I don't know how they're gonna organize this team, with all these recruits, and I feel like there already was a bit of a logjam in those positions. But in saying that, if you have Peatling out on the wing or Keys out on the wing, you're better off with them than say like a Billy Dowling or something. You all of a sudden you have a higher quality of player out on the ground, a bit more depth as well. So anyway, James Peatling, good player. I like that pickup from Adelaide a lot. The next pick we have is, so who's picking now again? Picking Fremantle. So Fremantle are selecting Tanner Bruhn. Now, Tanner Bruhn, I think his numbers don't look as good as they should because his time on ground isn't as high. So I don't know if that's because he can't play another position, or does he not have the aerobic capacity just yet. But his clearances and tackles are quite high for someone who doesn't get that much time on ground. I don't know if he's the classiest player, but I like his energy, and I like what he brings to the stoppage work. So he goes to Fremantle, and he'll probably be as pleased as that, as when he was drafted to GWS, where he looked like a sad boy. That was weird, and obviously he was sad for a reason. He wanted out. So next one. So who picks him now? So GWS, they go and pick a SA boy, and it's Tom Powell. Now, Tom Powell, I really like Tom Powell. He arguably could be higher than any of these dudes, right? The thing with Tom Powell, and this is coming from a North Melbourne supporter, he doesn't have the physical attributes that I want in a midfielder. I feel like I don't see the strength. I don't see the explosion. He's got a half-decent footwork and a bit of, evasiveness, but I think you need to be an athlete these days. I think that's important when it comes to midfielders, unless you're one of the very, very best, then you don't even need to be an athlete. But not many of them even exist, to be honest with you. But Tom Powell is super classy with the ball, with his hands and with his feet. There's a handball compilation of his first year, and it's just, I watch it here and there just to remind myself that he's a good footballer, and that the joy that he brought me in his first year. But also, there's a moment where he barrels it, 80-meter barrel or 70-meter barrel, whatever it was, where he set up Liam Shields for a goal. He had only just picked up the ball, and he just, the football IQ just came out, and he just smacked it down with the barrel. It shows what type of footballer he is, that he's got that smarts and he has that awareness. If he can build upon his physical attributes, then he could be, he could be a lot higher on this list. But for the moment, I just don't know. I don't know if he can be, a top three midfielder in a premiership type team. I don't know if he can really do that just yet. But I very much like Tom Powell. Anyway, the next one. So this guy, maybe you could argue goes higher, but I don't think I've seen as much from him. Just not on a consistent basis anyway. And that's Archie Perkins. he has what Tom Howell doesn't in regards to that burst and that quick step. But there hasn't been games like I think he had one game against West Coast at the start of the year or something like that, where I'm like, oh wow, look at this guy go. He's going to be huge. But he just never really recaptured that form. And part of that might be because he hasn't played full time mid, for long enough periods. But he forms that middle core of this list of midfielders that I find it hard to, I found this midfield hard to sort of differentiate. But yeah, so Archie Perkins goes there. High potential player though. He could go a lot higher if, depending on, the way you interpret, their talent. Collingwood, GWS next again. They had a lot of picks in this draft. Actually, not really. Only really two there. Yeah. Anyway, GWS now go and I'm looking at the list that I made and I don't really like it, so I'm going to change it slightly. They're going to go for a dude who I'm going to double check. He wasn't an academy. I'm going with Shannon Neal, and Shannon Neal, he scored over a goal a game for Geelong. Big physical presence. I think he's 200 centimeters, right? 202 centimeters, so he's a big boy. 23 goals in 15 games. I think he's very impressive. Helps that he's in a good team, but I think a big body. He can play a bit of ruck as well. He was taking a few contested marks as well, which I thought was impressive. I think that type of player can only, he can only get better. Like next year, if he could kick 40 goals next season, and all of a sudden we're like, wow, Shannon Neal, he's mad. Will that happen? I don't know. But look, I'm happy to bank on, the physical attributes and the potential at this part of the draft. So we've gone with Shannon Neal. And who's next picking? So after GWS, Collingwood again. So they're sort of trading picks at this point. And I'm looking at this list, and it's kind of mid. It's got the list. There we go. I admitted it. The list is mid. But no, the players available, you just kind of they don't excite me at all. So Collingwood are going to do a little bid on a Sydney player, and they'll match it. It's Braden Campbell. Now, Braden Campbell, we were really excited about him when he first came into the season for his kicking, but he hasn't really found a role, and that's sort of concerning for me because Sydney know how to identify talent and utilize talent. So if they're using him as a sub at the moment, and dudes like Florent are going ahead of him and Matt Roberts are going ahead of him, I just question Braden Campbell a little bit. We see what they like. They offload their players that aren't good. Like Dylan Stevens, for example. They know that they knew he wasn't good, and that's why I sent him to North. Anyway, prove me wrong, Dylan Stevens. So we got Braden Campbell there. And maybe hopefully they don't know. Like the other one, they've sent us Constanti as well. Hopefully they made a mistake there. But anyway, I think Sydney are good with their talent. Identifying, and I obviously there's something weird about Campbell. Maybe it's just the players ahead of him are better, and it's as simple as that. And I shouldn't be as concerned. But anyway, Braden Campbell goes there because of his kicking. I think there's still a good player there, and that's why he goes. Actually, you know what? No, I'm changing this up a little bit. I'm changing this. Actually, no. All right. The next player. No, scrap what I was about to say. The next player is going to Collingwood again. And it's going to be Ned Moyle. He was another mid-season player. Now, with Ned Moyle, I think when he plays for Gold Coast, they don't really lose a hell of a lot. It's not like all of a sudden, Witz is out. We're going to dominate the ruck. It doesn't really happen that badly. I think Ned Moyle is a proper first-team ruckman. Will he ever, get that mantle at Gold Coast? Maybe in 2 or 3 years' time. But yeah, no, I just think he's a proper ruckman. I don't think he's a VFL ruckman. I think Ned Moyle's very solid. But until he has that, a solid run of games where, he really proves himself, he can't really go too high on this list, let's be honest. But yeah, you kind of get an idea. So I'm getting to this level of player at 18. So it sort of shows that this draft, it's not strong. It really isn't strong. And I'm picking players who are role players for other clubs, and I don't like my knowledge gets a little bit more limited when we go into the role players of clubs that I don't watch week in week out. The next one after Collingwood picks, Geelong picks, and I feel like this guy he's got the feeling of a Geelong player, and it's Sam Berry. Now Sam Berry could be higher on this list. If this was 2-3 years ago when he had that really good second season where he was close to leading tackling and things like that. Only 1 coach's vote and 3 Brownlow. That's weird. Anyway, I actually think he's a very solid player. I think he when he plays in the guts, he's a solid tackler. There's another one who's in that rotation of Adelaide half forward mids and how they're going to navigate this situation. He's in part of that. But he can't go too high on this list just because, he hasn't really shown it consistently to no fault of his own. He hasn't really had the opportunity. But anyway, Sam Berry goes there. And then I'm only going to go up to 20. I'm only going to go up to 20 because this draft is quite uninspiring. Melbourne make a selection here. And this is purely a North Melbourne. I still believe in you pick, and it's Will Phillips. So I'd to be honest with you. So there's other dudes who might be able to, who probably sneak in. There's Lockie Jones who, is a decent role player. There's, Bowie's a decent role player. Nathan O'Driscoll, I don't watch him enough to be honest with you, but he's always injured as well. He doesn't play that many games. There's a few dudes who I could probably put ahead, if you believe in the Samson Ryan potential, Bo McCreary, Anyway, look, this is my list. We're going to go with Will Phillips. And the thing with Will Phillips is when he does play, he, at the very least, has very good skills. Like, his kicking is excellent. His football smarts are great. He was tagging Dacos that one game. That one game he tagged Dacos. I thought, we got one here in Phillips, man. We got our tagger. But in saying that, this year we got Luke Parker and we drafted Finn O'Sullivan. So the chances of Will Phillips actually getting a run at it is like 5 to 10%, to be honest with you, which is sad because I really do like Will Phillips as a player. I think he's classy as a midfielder. The only issue is just the physical attributes aren't there. Much like Tom Powell, the physical attributes just aren't there. But look, Will Phillips makes the list just out of respect for, I'm a North fan. But anyway, look, let me know what you think. Who else have I missed? Lockie McNeil. I don't know. Who else was this? Who else? Jed McEntee. He's okay. He's okay. Jordan Boyd's okay as well. But they're all role players at the end of the day. So I'm gonna go with the high potential Will Phillips. He was a number 3 pick. Probably he was considered the best midfielder in this draft, and obviously that didn't happen. But we're gonna pick him. Jacob Edwards, chuck him 21. Nah. Look. Anyway. If you got this far, thank you very much for listening. If you haven't seen our draft reaction, check that out. That was a little bit more organized than what this little video is here. But yeah, I also want to say thank you for the love. To be honest with you, thank you for the support. That draft video that I was just saying had a lot of positive comments and a lot of I think it was nice engagement. It was productive rather than hateful, and I think it was pretty positive generally. So thank you very much. We'll be doing more videos shortly, and anyway, we'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you very much.